The article contains spoilers for Better Call Saul's final season. Better Call Saul is in its final season with one episode left before it ends completely, and the penultimate episode ended on a massive cliffhanger. Fans have been speculating to no end how it will compete with Breaking Bad's perfect finale, and it's the most exciting time to be a fan of the series. But while some fans are debating what will happen next, other fans are complaining about how the final season has unfolded. A pocket of fans don't think the season is as perfect as the 99% Rotten Tomatoes scores would have people believe. Between dumbing down characters, pointless cameos, and ruining Breaking Bad's legacy, Redditors are extremely critical of the final season. It's overly theatrical. The Breaking Bad universe has always been over the top, especially when it comes to theatrical characters. But Never Eat Beers argues that it has gotten too much. The Redditor posits, the most theatrical element is these contrived hijinks and cons Jimmy and Kim pull off in BCS. They really strain credibility. That has always been the Better Call Saul formula, so it isn't exactly a new approach. However, the Reddit user also notes that Jimmy always seems to avoid getting caught by mere seconds, and that's true for almost all of his schemes. Whether it's returning Howard's car after stealing it or keeping security guard Frank from looking at the security monitors until Jeff comes back to consciousness, the season is full of close calls. But it won't be half as fun if Saul breezily gets away with everything. Lalo's death was mishandled. Lalo Salamanca is without a doubt the best villain of the Breaking Bad franchise. It's almost as if he's a video game character whose stats for every skill is a 10, whether it's languages, combat, stealth, or charisma. And that's exactly why SNOOPIES4334 believes that his death was totally mishandled. The Redditor argues, I feel that a villain as powerful and cunning as Lalo, someone who was capable of outsmarting basically everyone in the Breaking Bad universe, I feel that his death was a bit premature. The death might have felt a little rushed, but that could have been because of where AMC chose to have the mid-season break. Plan and execution and point and shoot was almost like an epic two-part episode, but there was a 2-month-long break between them. If there was to break, the death might not have felt as mishandled. Jesse and Kim's scene was pointless. While there's nothing wrong with unnecessary fan service, Better Call Saul's cameos have usually had a purpose, and they're never shoehorned in simply to serve fans. But ADEFFECTIVE590 thinks that might have changed when Jesse, Aaron Paul, appeared in Waterworks. The Redditor complains, the Jesse and Kim scene was a complete waste of time. We have very little time left, and most of it should be committed to what actually matters. The Reddit user has a point, and, at most, the scene explains why Jesse recommends Saul to Walter in Breaking Bad. However, there's no denying how much fun it is to see Paul back in the role, especially when it's a much younger and playful Jesse. Many fans particularly miss the old Jesse, since the events from Breaking Bad Season 3 had traumatized and changed him to the point he was no longer the laid-back and comic relief character. Lalo was dumbed down. Reddit user ProudConfidence7290 thinks that not only was Lalo's death mishandled, but that the character was turned into an idiot. The Redditor asks, how is it possible that Lalo didn't notice Gus had a plan when he started talking with big confidence when he was talking to the camera? Every single person with little intelligence will notice that he has something on his mind. The user is referring to when Lalo is holding Gus at gunpoint, but Gus clearly isn't scared because of his backup plan. However, there has never been a time when Gus has begged for mercy, and he certainly isn't going to beg for it from a Salamanca, and Lalo knows that. A lot of characters suffer from flanderization, which is when a single trait becomes their defining aspect, after a show has gone on for longer than it should, but Lalo shouldn't exactly be grouped with a Michael Scott or Joey Tribbiani. It isn't funny enough. Redditor Beria thinks the show isn't funny enough, noting, "There has yet to be something as comical as the billboard stunt, inflatable montage, Huel introduction, pastor call, Mesa Verde scam." However, there have been way more schemes in this season alone than possibly seasons 1-5 combined. The scheme of breaking Howard was made up of mini-schemes where each one had its own episode, and the mall heist might be the most exciting and comical stunt yet. Between Gene distracting Frank, Jeff running around the mall reciting a rhyme scheme, and plotting the stunt in a field, it's a perfect example of setup and payoff, and it's full of comedy too. Gene would never have strangled Marion. Saul has never been the brawn behind any criminal organization, and Hess rarely ever the brain either, but season 6 signaled a change for the former lawyer when living as Gene in Nebraska. In Waterworks, he threatens Marion with a telephone wire when she finds out his true identity. Crumblies argues, no freaking way would he have strangled Marion. He was scaring her, biting for time and a solution himself. Wouldn't have killed the cancer guy either. But the Redditor is missing that point, as it was simply an empty threat that Gene never intended to act on. However, it could also signal how far down the spiral Gene has gone and make audiences wonder if Saul has reached the point where Hess willing to kill. That could be the case, given how he almost used a dog's ashes to bash a cancer patient in the back of the head in the previous episode too. It's ruining the Breaking Bad ending. There are movie prequels that improve the original film, but they are few and far between. Most prequels ruin their originators, as the entire Star Wars prequel trilogy ruins the plot twist of The Empire Strikes Back, just as the new Planet of the Apes movies depleted the first film's twist. And DOT1004 believes Better Call Saul is ruining Breaking Bad too. The Redditor comments, I was already satisfied with how Breaking Bad ended and not knowing for sure what happened to Gene and the other characters. While some things are better left untold to keep the mystique, there was clearly so much more story to tell when it comes to Saul, and given that there's no knowing how it'll end, it might even make Breaking Bad's finale more impactful. Nacho shouldn't have been killed off. Though it happened in season 6, Nacho's death feels like a lifetime ago. His death was early in the season, there was a 2-month-long gap, and the season is moving at such a breakneck pace. Nevertheless, Onslogist thinks that Nacho shouldn't have been killed off, at least not as early as he did, or in the way that he was. The Redditor notes, the heroic suicide trope is just not something that works here, for me. That is a trope that's used all too often, but it wasn't exactly heroic. Nacho had been backed into a corner that was impossible to get out of, which made the inevitability of it so effective for viewers. And though Nacho was such an instrumental part of the series, given how the character was never featured in Breaking Bad, the writing was on the wall for how his arc was going to be wrapped up. Kim should get an unhappy ending. Redditor Maradona Goat argues that Kim shouldn't get a happy ending, claiming that Shess is much to blame for everything as Jimmy. The Redditor comments, I wish her the very worst. What she and Jimmy are doing to Howard is straight up nasty, and it's mostly her idea. I will be happy if she gets a bad ending. It's easy to see where the user is coming from, as Kim had as many schemes as Jimmy, and some of them were even more conniving. However, unlike Jimmy, she is commonly seen doing the right thing, such as working pro bono for people who can't afford decent lawyers and confessing the truth about Howard to Cheryl Hamlin. Either way, the Redditor has already partially got their wish. In Waterworks, Kim is clearly a completely broken person in the post-Breaking Bad world. There shouldn't be another spin-off, so many fans have been debating what should come next once Better Call Saul wraps, whether it's a drama about Mike on the Force or a Los Palos Hermanos based sitcom. But Jake DOS31 thinks that continuing the Breaking Bad universe is the worst thing that can be done at this point. The Redditor posits, "I feel like we don't need to go down the path of other universes where every single character and their mother get their own spin-off." People said the same thing after Breaking Bad ended, but Better Call Saul is arguably better than its predecessor, not to mention that one is a crime drama and the other is mostly a